My name is Noshihle Dlamini. I'm currently a senior manager at Toyota in the quality division for future projects and innovation. A mother of two lovely boys, and yeah, that's me. I'm married, by the way. It's my business. So what we do in the quality division, I think I assume that is self-explanatory, but we in charge of overall vehicle quality in Toyota, and obviously liaise with the customer, whether internal customer, external customer, so that whole control mechanism from a project point of view, all the future projects that are coming in, and obviously from an ambidexterity point of view, trying to include innovation into our processes and researching new trends and stuff coming into the automotive industry, and seeing how to implement that in order to improve efficiency, productivity, and enhance quality. By qualification, I'm a mechanical engineer, so I did engineering, and obviously I went and had like a little stint of work in Witbank, came back, working Toyota. My first job in Toyota was a drivetrain engineer, and then got promoted into engineering manager, senior manager for inspection, the labs and everything else, and currently that's where I am. But over and above that, my passion has always been in education, not only for myself, from a growth point of view, and literally how to interact with people. So if literally I showed you what I've studied, people think I'm a bit schizophrenic, because I studied engineering, but then on the flip side, you'll see I did a little bit of psychology. Then you come back, I'm doing business studies and MBA. Currently, I'm doing a master's in HR, and people don't even know where I'm going with this. But for me, it's that whole understanding the human dynamic and how things operate in a system point of view. And that's how I'm here, is my passion for people, wanting to be understanding the human brain and all these things. From a technical point of view, I was like, yes, we can build whatever we can build, but what makes the common denominator is tapping into that human spirit, that human energy that's going to make everything work like how it should work. My mom is a very strong woman. My mom is strength personified. So she's one of those go-getting women. If you look at the history, she grew up literally virtually with nothing, and with the help of family and everything else, but she had to struggle, and she made a life for herself. And while she was this very strong woman, ambitious and strong-willed, she was with a man, my father, who was one of the, I won't say soft, he was the best guys who can actually complement. And that's also the dynamic of seeing a strong woman with a guy who actually complements and who's not intimidated by the strength. So I'm inspired by my family dynamic, actually, where I see my mom, my dad, and everything else. So they inspire me in all they do, because they've worked, like both of them came from virtually nothing, and they built a life for us from the rurals to, I think we grew up in Toti, and everybody's like, oh, okay, sharp, another girl that grew up in Toti. So I'm actually inspired by that, about, again, collaboration and unions that are correct and not pressing anybody down, but actually complementary and understanding of each other to build into something. And my children, lastly, because I'm doing all that I do for them. Like, I won't lie, I need a better like where we are in South Africa, I need a better country. We can all immigrate to somewhere else, but some of us cannot run away, because we need to make sure we do what we need to do for our children. So every day I wake up, I see these little beautiful boys, and I'm like, I need to do better. I need to see how I can change things so that they can have something better to grow into. I work in an industry where it's predominantly male. So if anybody knows Witbank, the mining industry, you're coming there as a young girl. I was very young, like half my body size. I was a young girl. Everybody there was looking at me as if, like, younger than their daughter, some of them. What are you doing? Like, literally, I had to live my life being called Mexican. So, because that's what they refer to me, it's like, so literally nobody even recognizes you for whatever you studied and whatever you know, because everybody has already decided who and what you are. And you literally have to work yourself out of that. So part of the challenges was, how do you start proving, this constant life of coming every day to prove yourself, where you are in meetings and nobody sees you, despite you being the most qualified in the table. For me, it's the stereotypes going into male-dominated industries. And I think, coming in young and everything else. On a personal front, as a woman, because if a vulnerable moment, because we don't talk about it, we want to be extra and everything else. I think when I got married, there was a time where I couldn't get pregnant. So we talked that at work, you have to come up and show up and be all good and happy. So we have those moments where, as a woman, it's like you don't get a chance to just step into yourself and deal while you're going through stuff. So you go through these things. And I think when I actually had a miscarriage, then I had to come up and show up at work because I was a manager. Because the whole theory of management, it's about you, your people and everything else. And you have to come up and show up while you're going through this thing. And it's all about go home, deal, come back to work, put on this persona and everything else. So from emotional point of view, that was one of my biggest challenges. And to a point where I think when I was pregnant with my son, I was pregnant the whole time in this very anxious state. So from an emotional and mental point of view, as much as there's external challenges for me, I think that was one of the biggest, where you literally live this life, it's like you live a double life. And you expected to be a leader and be okay and carry on with life and everything else. So for me, from professional, it's the whole stereotype for being a woman and everything else. And you literally have to constantly prove yourself, which we do all the time. But it's this whole thing of having to prove yourself. And then on the emotional side is that whole thing where you can't be soft at times and have that room to deal with what you need to deal with, because you have to show up. You have to go home and show up a certain way. It's like in every role, you have people are expecting 100%. And I think most of it is self-imposed because we feel like people wouldn't understand. But that's what I've been learning while I'm growing into myself as well. I'm sounding very anti-whatever right now, to fail maths all their lives so that they feel stupid, instead of honing in on their artistry and making them experiment with these things and learn these things. Then they get to grow into it. Yes, we're going to get the doctors. Yes, we're going to get the lawyers. Yes, we're going to get these people. Yes, we're going to get the speakers. But the thing is, and if we do want these technical stream people, let's build it from that young phase.
So what advice would you give to young people?
For me, I'm going to be on some know thyself. Like, I know there's expectations, because like literally, even if young kids, and if I have to speak to my younger self, is that everything works out. Like, I know it sounds very foofy right now, but my thing is that everything works out for your own good. And the reason why I say this is because from the spiritual aspect, which literally for me is my guiding thing, is that everything is very intentional. Like, that's why I even have an issue when people say there's this group previously disadvantaged, advantage, everything else. Because for me, the one thing I always keep in my mind is God is very intentional about who you are, who you were raised, where you were born, and the circumstances and the experiences that you get. So the fact that I was born in this family, specifically that mother, specifically that father with those traits, it's what I needed for my own personal journey, because we all have different journeys. He knew that you need to experience these things to become your best self. So what I will tell young kids is that never look down or never shun anything that happens to you, because it all works out for your own good. It might not be perfect. It might not be ideal. It might be the roughest situation and you see people having it easy, but that specific thing is happening specifically for your journey and for your own good. And it's a matter of you not dwelling in the negative. I'm not saying it won't hurt. I'm not saying be naive, but actually understanding, what is this thing teaching me? It might not be good. Because I'm just going to make an example. Me being called May 2nd of my life. When I'm talking to a young lady, I know how condescending it is, not to another woman, but to anybody else, calling them a random stereotype that I might think is okay. So it doesn't have to be a woman specifically. I can meet, for example, a young boy and I call him Lighty. I don't do that. I used to do it because I was like, as much as it's very social and colloquial, but it might not be appropriate because I'm not sure how it's landing to another person. Because that's what that experience taught me. And about proving myself, I was like, it taught me how to work hard. It taught me how to speak up. Because right now I'm speaking up, I'm in my own because of that experience. As much as at that time, I was like, I could have changed it, I could have done whatever, kicking and screaming, crying, but it equipped me to actually have a voice and be able to stand up for myself and work hard for where I am right now, which whatever I'm going through right now is teaching me to level up for where I'm going in future. We do a lot of things, not that we do it for the glory and the limelight and everything else, but I think an inherent trait in any human is recognition and to be seen. Whether it's to be seen by your peers or whether it's to be seen by anybody else. So for me, this means that whatever it is that I'm doing, even if I have my own reasons, I'm seen. And I know I sound foofy because I always say this, is that because we're in KZN and we are Zulu, literally when you greet somebody Zulu, you say sawubona, which is literally the greeting is that I see you. So this whole thing is about, I'm having my little sawubona moment with this because yes, you do what you need to do with the passion, for whatever reason, everything else, but it's my sawubona moment where I'm being recognized and seen, and it's awesome.